courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV channel and YouTube channel. VK1 WIA National News, wireless weather and radio sport is next.
Not a sound to be heard. We pause and remember another silent key.
Just starting this edition of WIA National News with news of a vital ham becoming a silent key. Yes, Robert Bruniger, Whiskey Bravo 4 APR, the inventor of APRS, has become a silent key. Thank you, Bob, for the incredible invention and participation in amateur radio over the years.
There's a really quick reminder, the Ross Hole contest logs are due in on Monday the 14th of February. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. 7-3 Trent, VK4TS.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
It certainly is the national news, and it is for week commencing February 13, 2022. I'm Graham, VK4BB. In just a moment, Jeff, VK4 ZPP with Discussion Point. From Q News, and an item which has been picked up already by hams in both IARU Region 1 and 2, and also Pastor Oscar Rees, VK's IARU Region 3 representative. It came from Jeff, VK4 ZPP. It's to do with listening, responding to emergency traffic.
Now, the regional list of emergency traffic frequencies is regularly published, but we don't appear to have any pattern or system of monitoring them. Certainly the authorities can say we have international response networks and the amateur radio service isn't necessary. However, there are many people in various places on the globe that do have amateur radio and HFCB as local communications or for recreational use. Many people have complained of the tedium of having to isolate during the pandemic, and I've seen that several skeds have appeared on an ad hoc basis just to allow people to call in and interact with others. The international net for sailors goes on, particularly on 20 metres, and on the land mobile services in this country, listening watches are maintained. With time in our hands and equipment on the bench, just what would it take to tune into one of these emergency frequencies and spend some time just monitoring whilst going on with the day's routine? What would it take to have clubs organise a roster of willing members to fill the spots, or a roster of, and how much more would it take to have a national contact point to action matters such as reports? To me, this doesn't seem like a radical proposal or an onerous task for any one person. Even operators by themselves could do this. We think of ourselves as person-to-person communicators, and the bulk of the time there will be just the usual noise we expect with no signals to monitor. I know there are people who spent many hours monitoring on the CB band emergency channel, and there are still CB operators doing this. With the band conditions providing interesting DX, we can no longer say that listening out on emergency frequencies will simply be local. Region 3 is a very much populated area, and at the same time a very remote cluster of radio operators in our part of the world. I believe we have an opportunity to make a small but perhaps profoundly important contribution in times of need. I'm Jeff Emery, and that's what I think. How about you?
Now, international news with Jason, VK2LAW.
Hello. UNESCO has suggested several themes that can be celebrated on World Radio Day today, February 13, including trust in radio journalism, the accessibility of radio, and the viability of radio stations. Radio has a key role to play in several areas, UNESCO said, beginning with producing independent and high-quality content, providing information to a diverse group of individuals, and working to transform loyal audience engagement into financial stability, especially for small, medium and non-profit stations. World Radio Day got its start in 2011 when member states of UNESCO adopted February 13, the anniversary of the 1946 founding of United Nations Radio, as World Radio Day, in an effort to raise greater awareness of the importance of radio to encourage decision makers to provide access to information via radio and to enhance networking and international cooperation amongst broadcasters. Finland's National Amateur Radio Society, SRAL, has made the latest issue of their magazine, Radio Amateur, available free for everyone to read as a convenient PDF. The editorial on page 1 looks at the move in Norway to introduce an entry-level amateur radio qualification based on SEPT ECC Report 89. At the present time, Finland doesn't have an entry-level licence. Their lowest class is SEPT Novice, equivalent to UK Intermediate, USA General. Norway is aiming for an entry-level qualification that permits 10 watts output on all bands and allows home construction of transmitting equipment. The National Amateur Radio Society in Italy, ARI, reports that they only lost 13 members in 2021, but the membership is ageing. The Secretary-General of ARI, Mauro Pregliasco, India 1, Juliet, Quebec, Juliet, writes, "The ageing process is a phenomenon that affects the life of our sections. This essentially depends on two factors. First is of a structural nature, and is directly connected to the demographic decline in our country. The second is a direct consequence of technological progress, which makes radio less and less interesting for young people." In ARI's statistics, the mode of a set of numbers is the value that appears most frequently. In our case, it's made up of 59-year-old members. The range that includes the greatest number of members is from 55 to 64 years. Free virtual event. This marks 80 years since the opening of Bletchley Park's Bomb Hut 11A in March 1942. Bletchley Park's research historian Dr. David Kenyon will explore the impact the bomb machine had and how it was used to combat the Enigma cipher system. Wednesday, 23rd of March 2022 at 1300. 80 years ago, in March 1942, Hut 11A opened as the new home of Bletchley Park's top-secret bomb machines. Designed by Alan Turing and Gordon Welchman, inspired by pre-war work by Polish cryptanalysts, the bombs played a vital role in helping the codebreakers break the infamous Enigma cipher. In news from Region 2, microphone manufacturer Heil Sound has new top leadership for the first time in its 56-year history. The Illinois-based company said Bob and Sarah Heil have transferred ownership to current President CEO Ash Levitt and Director of Operations Steve Warford. Sarah Heil has retired, but Bob will continue to do outreach work and product design within the amateur radio space under the title Founder and CEO Emeritus, it stated. The company said Levitt and Warford each began working with Heil Sound as teenagers, building and packaging products. Levitt took a different career path in academia for a number of years, but continued to regularly consult with Heil Sound during that time. He returned to the company full-time in 2017 and assumed the role of president in 2020. Warford worked his way up in the company during his tenure and has been responsible for daily operations for the past several years. The Dayton Hamvention is still on as of now, but General Chairman Rick Olnut, Whiskey Sierra 8 Golf, said in a statement that the Hamvention would follow state guidance, which he expects to include recommendations, but not requirements, for masking and social distancing at large events. It's become obvious, he said, that the state of Ohio is very unlikely to call a halt to large gatherings anytime soon. As of now, Olnut added there are no plans to offer on-site COVID testing during the Hamvention, and he does not anticipate checking vaccination status at the show. He says updates will be posted online at hamvention.org. In news from Region 3, Indonesia's Arari reports the communications regulator has asked amateurs to improve the quality of radio amateurs through local meetings. A translation of the post by the National Amateur Radio Organisation Arari reads, Directorate General of Postal Resources and Devices and Informatics of the Ministry of Communication and Informatics encourages the improvement of amateur radio quality through local meetings. The head of Arari Centre stated that the Improved Quality member program would provide technical and organisational knowledge and skills. Orari Centre will launch the Orari digital application. One of its functions is to provide EKTA services, call signs that can be downloaded, delivery of letters or documents through the application and others, so that the service can be faster and more accessible to members, he explained. For VK1 WIA National News in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1 WIA. Now operational news with Felix, VK4 FUQ.
Hello there. Now contest-wise 2022. March is the John Memorial Field Day 19th to 20th of March. Harry Angel Memorial 80-metre Sprint Saturday 7th of May. The Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest Saturday evening 14th May between 6pm and 9pm Eastern Standard Time on 80 metres. Sunday afternoon 15th of May between 1pm and 4pm Eastern Standard Time on 40 metres. International CQ Pride Contest June 4 to 6. BK Shires Contest 11th June. WIA VHF UHF Field Days Winter 2022. Saturday 25 June through Sunday 26 June. IAR UHF World Championship next contest is July 9 and 10. Dick's Window. We start by heading north-northwest from me to the Northern Territory, and Peter VK8ZZ on behalf of the Darwin Amateur Radio Club, VK8DA.
On the 19th of February 2022, that's Saturday next weekend, it will be 80 years since the bombing of Darwin in 1942. To commemorate this event, the Darwin Amateur Radio Club will be holding a DX Marathon on the 19th of February 2022, using the special call sign VI80BOD. We will be operating from the old Qantas hangar in Parap. This hangar was standing in 1942 and did sustain some damage in the raids. Operation will be on most bands 80, 15 and 10 metres. QSL via EQSL or via the Bureau. Hope to meet you on the air. This has been Peter, VK8ZZ, for the Darwin Amateur Radio Club.
Thanks, Peter. Throughout the month of February, Rob, PA0RDY, is activating PF88ANT from Amsterdam, marking the 19th Antarctic Activity Week celebration, which will take place between February 21st and 27th. Meanwhile, in Antarctica itself, Chris, W2RTO, is active from the KC4USV McMurdo station on Ross Island, on 20 metres using SSB and FT8, and will be on the air until mid-2022. Suffolk Stroke 70 permitted for Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Following a request by the RSGB, Ofcom have indicated that stations wishing to retain their usual regional secondary locator to identify their DXCC entity may use the Suffolk Stroke 70 to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. It is also permitted to use the Stroke 70 suffix with the GQ/MQ/2Q prefix. St. Patrick's Day Award. The organisers of the St. Patrick's Day Award are excited to announce the launch of a new web page where visitors can learn everything they need to know about the St. Patrick's Day Award. On their new page, you'll also find the simple registration form to be completed by all participants in this year's festivities, which will be running from the 16th to the 18th of March 2022. Previous years have seen over 100 amateurs register to participate, and we are hopeful that this will continue to grow. The award is an opportunity for amateurs around the world to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and turn the airwaves green. Austral Islands DXpedition. Several members of the Perseverance DX group will activate Rovae Island in the Austral Islands, French Polynesia, between April 15 and April 29, approximately 12 operating days. The plan is to have radios on the air continuously, as propagation allows. The call sign TX5N was issued for this project. The team expects to make between 60,000 and 80,000 QSOs. Austrian special event. Look for the special event call sign OE22M to be active sometime between April 23rd to commemorate the anniversary of Guglielmo Marconi's birthday, April 25th, 1874, and to celebrate International Marconi Day, Saturday, April 23rd. Zimbabwe. QRV is Z21A and Z22O from Harare until February 20. Activities on 160 to 10 metres using CWSSB, FT8 and FT4. QSL both via DJ6TF. Ukrainian readers and listeners QSL via UI5ZZ. The DXCC Most Wanted Entities list has been updated. The list contains 340 entities. The following are the top 4 entities: P5, DPRK, North Korea; 3Y-B, Booby Island; FT5-W, Crozy Island; BS7H, Scarborough Reef. Just repeating, this is where we look at some repeaters in the listening footprint. Joining us, as promised last week, is Nathan, VK5DAD from VK5 South Coast Amateur Radio Club.
Our club's 70cm C4 FM repeater on 439.825 with a -5 offset is now linked to WiresX through a 4G modem with the help and support of Phil Kern and the team at Kern Wi-Fi. Our 2-metre repeater on 146.675 FM with a -6 offset is also on air. Our club's 10-metre repeater up on 29.620 FM with a -0.1 offset, and a 2-metre simplex gateway on 147.675 FM, which you need a subtone of 141.3, is also on air. Our club's APRS Digi repeater is working well and also on air. Our 23cm repeater is currently off air and under repair. Don't forget, we have a fully operational HF club station under VK5 ARC. On Sunday the 24th of April 2022, we have our annual buy and sell at our club room, so please keep the date free. Pop on down and say good day. We'd love to put a face to the voice we hear on the radio. 73s from all at the South Coast Amateur Radio Club.
Now, just before I go, some distance records smashed. Some new long-distance records are being claimed for contacts using amateur radio satellites. Congratulations to Juan Philippe A65GC and Jerome F4DXV for their QSO on HO113. Made the United Arab Emirates and France. Their contact reportedly spanned a distance of 5,298 kilometres. Jerome F4DXV also reported a contact with Sergi ES4RM, which would be a new record for AO109. That contact between Estonia and France covered 2,445 kilometres, setting a new record for that satellite. For BK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ in Ingham.
Media Watch, and as Jason has already told us, World Radio Day. But here's World Radio Day and a special program. Sweden's SSA reports the Swedish DX Federation will be taking part in a special broadcast on 6070 kHz and 9670 kHz for World Radio Day today, Sunday, Feb 13. 1200 to 1300 UTC 9670, with a replay between 1600 and 1700 UTC